yes, this is still a Travis video. I'm just here to clear up a few things. This video was meant to go up in September during Mccoy month. However, Travis couldn't make it in time because he was feeling very sick. So here it is now. Enjoy the show, I guess.
Where to now, Ace?
Home.
Home?
The TARDIS.
Yes, the TARDIS. There are worlds out there where the sky's burning, where the sea's asleep and the rivers dream. People made of smoke and cities made of song. Somewhere there's danger, somewhere there's injustice, and somewhere else the tea's getting cold. Come on, Ace. We've got work to do.
The Mccoy Era. 3 seasons that tried to improve the reputation of the series after its decline and hiatus during the 6th Doctor's tenure. This era, in particular season 26, a character development of the Doctor himself, as he turned from an eccentric, spoon-playing clown to a mysterious, hardened manipulator who used his mind to turn the tides of any situation in his favour, whilst still showing much warmth and affection towards his companions. Moments in previous stories have brought back some mystery to the Doctor's character, such as him saying we instead of they when talking to Ace about the Hand of Time. The Doctor was emerging as far more than just another Time Lord, and dare I say, far more than most of his other incarnations, at least in terms of mystery. Despite all this, however, the series had only minorly recovered in ratings, and with the showing of Survival on December the 8th, 1989, the series went on hiatus for the second time that decade, this time for good, or at least until 2005. But what if that wasn't the end? What if the moment never needed to be prepared for? For a start, Survival likely wouldn't have its powerful ending speech, which was added in at the last minute to somewhat round off the series, but Season 27 would likely have been made. Not much is known about this season, but thanks to Big Finish and the power of the internet, it is possible to speculate what could have been. The first proposed serial, Earth-Aid, was to be a 3-parter, like Survival. It would have featured the Metatraxi, a race of insects who had an insane bloodlust but would only kill armed beings. The plot would have also centered around the politics of food aid. Sounds familiar? The episode was also to feature the Doctor building Stonehenge to send a signal into space, and a data vampire somewhere along the line. The opening was to have featured Ace at the command of a Star Trek-esque ship before she sidled off to her cabin to find the TARDIS and the Doctor waiting for her. She would have also said, "This isn't going to work," possibly with reference to her commanding position on the ship or perhaps the ship's mission. However, the BBC of the time were terrible at futuristic, in particular spacecraft sets, and with the proposed grand scale of the vessel, the episode may not have been produced. This story was, however, later made into a Big Finish audio of the same name. The next proposed serial, Ice Time, was to see the departure of Ace as a companion. It was to have been a 4-part serial featuring 2 rival factions of ice warriors battling in the midst of late 60s London. It would have also been revealed that the Doctor was training Ace to be a Time Lord all along, and he then would have enrolled her in the Prydonian Academy to become a Time Lord, in an attempt to bring some freshness to Gallifrey's now stagnant society. This serial was also to have introduced Sam Tollinger, a gangster who had been very successful and became straight and aristocratic whilst retaining his connection to the criminal underworld. He would have been a recurring character and played a key role in the next serial. This story would also later become the Big Finish audio Thin Ice. A follow-up serial, Crime of the Century, was proposed in part. The opening scene would have seen Kate Tollinger, Sam's aristocratic cat burglar of a daughter, sneak away from a garden party to crack a safe, only to find the Doctor waiting inside of it, saying, "What kept you?" The story hadn't been planned much beyond that point, but it would have featured drug smuggling, armed assaults, and very little sci-fi content, making it more akin to a crime drama. This story would have also given the Doctor and Kate a base of operations and a set of contacts to use whenever they visited Earth. The idea of contacts was later used in the revived series with Captain Jack, Torchwood and Sarah Jane. This story was also later developed into a Big Finish audio of the same title. Past this point in the series, very little had been planned. However, the script editor at the time of season 26, Andrew Cartmore, had a group of new writers who had not written anything for Doctor Who previously in mind, rather than specific stories. However, Mike Tucker, who worked in the effects department at the time, and Robert Perry had submitted an entire script for a possible season 26 story, titled Illegal Alien. However, it was cancelled due to sharing its World War II setting with the Curse of Fenric, and was instead penciled in to be in season 27 before the series was cancelled. It would have featured the Cybermen in Blitz-worn London, and would have been near identical to the later novelisation of the story. Many other stubs of stories were submitted, and only 3 of these have any detail of plot explained, so here they are. Hostage, a futuristic thriller in which a group of soldiers hunt down 2 shape-changing criminals called Butler and Swarf. The cliffhanger to the first part had Swarf changing into a monster who then went on the hunt in the next part. This possibly could have tied in with Kate Tollinger's criminality, but there are no further plot details. Some details of this story were later reused for the Virgin New Adventures novel, The Pit. Another stub of a story is Night Thoughts, a horror story located in an isolated house with a group of university staff, one of who is a cripple, being trapped inside the house during winter, with one of the characters turning out to be a murderer. It was later adapted into a Big Finish audio of the same title. A School for Glory is the last of the stubs and has the least detail about its plot. It was to be set during World War I, with the narrative alternating between the trenches and a British honeycomb doubling as an army academy. This would have likely been Sylvester McCoy's last season, after he was encouraged into a 4th year with the series. However, there are no regeneration stories even slightly planned out, so it's not clear either way. However, other things would have definitely changed with the new season. The Doctor would have a new costume, swapping the cheesy question mark jumper for a more subtle but still eccentric outfit, similar to what he wore in the TV movie. There would have likely been a new theme tune as well, returning to the root idea of an otherworldly, ethereal, and slightly spooky theme rather than the synth-heavy themes of the JNT era. There would likely have been a new TARDIS interior set, as the original was falling apart by the end of season 26, and while it could have been any design, it would have most likely followed the rough outline of the miniature set that Mike Tucker built for Doctor Who Night, with the console suspended from the ceiling, giving the illusion it was floating. But despite all of this speculation and planning, it was a last-minute addition that ended the series in a powerful and even emotional way. The speech at the end of Survival is the one moment in all of Doctor Who's 54-year run that actually made me cry. The best part of it is that McCoy didn't even know he was ending the original run of the series, yet his delivery was perfect, mirroring how everyone involved felt when the series was cancelled, a mix of melancholy and hope for the future. After all, there wasn't a complete lack of Doctor Who after 1989, but who knows, there could be worlds out there where discs are burning, JNT's retired and McCoy fans beam, vampires made of data and stories made of audio, somewhere there's crime, somewhere there's war, and somewhere else the set's falling apart. I'll see you all later, I've got work to do.